Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. I hope you are doing well. So today I am filming a what I got in Bicester Village haul. Just a quick disclaimer, we did go pre-Christmas and pre-lockdown, so I know that here in the UK we're currently in a lockdown and not able to do any in-store shopping. However, if you're anything like me, I do still like watching these types of videos, and I hope you do too. Before we get started, if you haven't been to Bicester Village or heard of it before, it's essentially an outdoors designer outlet shopping centre. So you've got a range of shops there, you've got cafes, restaurants, coffee shops, little snack bars, so you can very easily have a full-on day out if you wanted to. But one thing I would strongly suggest is go in there with a game plan. So have a clear idea of what shops it is that you're wanting to visit. I would always say go into the bigger shops like Gucci, Prada, Ralph Lauren. Go to them first because they're usually the ones that end up getting the biggest queues the quickest. So get there nice and early, go to the bigger shops first, have a clear idea of every shop that you want to go to. It is a big place and there are maps online, so it's worth trying to plan a good journey round the village, because otherwise you're going to be going back and forth constantly and you're not going to make the most of your time there. And the biggest thing that I can recommend is having a hit list of items that you're wanting to look at, buy, what budget you're wanting to spend, because it is very easy to get blindsided when you're there by all the good deals. It almost feels rude to say no to, but at the end of the day you're still spending money that you've worked hard for, and you don't want to buy something that you're going to regret down the line. So I would strongly advise knowing what you wanting to have a look for. Don't get me wrong, you're not always going to find it, and sometimes you do see things that you weren't expecting to see, which is fine, but just don't get too caught up in the pressure of buying something there and then and on the spot, because a lot of the times also shops do only have a couple of that item. It's unlikely that they're going to have it back if you want to go off and think about it and come back in a couple of days or weeks or months. It is highly unlikely that they're going to still be stocking that product. So try not to be caught out by the pressure of needing to buy it there and then and not the guilt of regretting of buying something. I've definitely done both. I've definitely pressure bought and I've definitely regretted, but that's part of life. So we usually go to Bicester Village a couple of times a year, but this year with everything going on, this was actually our first trip and last trip of the year. So it was quite different. We weren't too sure what to expect. We got there about 8:30, and then on arrival they take your temperature, they let you through. You then get into the village where everyone is wearing masks. Even though it is outdoors, we wore our masks the whole time. A lot of people also seem to do the same thing because you are still in fairly close proximity to people depending how busy it is. 90% of the shops that we went into made you sanitize your hands before you went in, and if you didn't do it they wouldn't let you in. Some shops did have empty hand sanitizer, which is really shocking considering we got there so early. There is no excuse for them to be empty, so that was a little bit disappointing, but we were doing it every shop anyway in between, so it wasn't a deal breaker, but it was just frustrating. So first on my hit list was PRADA, because one of my items that I wanted to try and get was a small black crossbody bag. I didn't particularly have a preference on brand. I just felt like for me personally, PRADA was likely to have something that I was looking for without being too out there, and also to fit my budget. And that was the first shop that I wanted to go to because I did think it was going to be the most successful, and it was. So I ended up picking up something in there. I did have a good look round. To be honest, they didn't have loads and loads of black bags there, but they never usually do. They've usually got navy and sort of weird and wonderful colours, which if that's what you're looking for. They had a lot of red bags this year as well, and a lot of them had extra discounts on top. So if that's something you're after, then it's definitely worth checking out PRADA at Bicester Village, because they may have something in there for you. Another thing that it is worth remembering is I've previously bought a PRADA bag from Bicester Village, and they had the bag that I wanted, just not in the colour that I wanted. So they had it in navy, pink, brown, khaki, I think, and I really wanted it in black, and I was umming and ahhing over the navy, and I said to my partner, look, if they had it in black I would buy it here and now, but I'm just not too sure how I feel about buying a navy bag. And one of the sales reps actually overheard me and said, if you want it in black, I will go and check out the back, because we do have it in black, but we don't put it on display because it's so popular, it will sell out instantly. And I suppose they're wanting people to buy the other colours first, and you're not necessarily going to think at somewhere like that they're going to hide stock out the back, especially having things in black. Usually they don't. So we did have a good look round, and I ended up finding this. Initially I wasn't too sure. It was a size that I wanted, it had the logo how I wanted it as well, but my preference was to potentially have a smooth bag, not something ruched like this one. And it's also a soft leather, so it's likely to wear and tear a little bit quicker than something that's tougher. But it wasn't necessarily a big deal breaker for me because it ticked all my other boxes. It has a gold strap that is adjustable, and it fits my phone, card holder, lip gloss, any other little bits, mask that we're needing to carry at the moment. So yeah, it wasn't a deal breaker for me at all. But I did ask the rep whilst I was there whether they had any more of these in stock, because if they did, I was probably going to go and have another browse just around the store, even not necessarily going to other stores, just to have a look to see if there was anything else that caught my eye. But she said it's the last one that had left, so I decided to go ahead with it. So what they do in Bicester is they give you a card, and you've got an hour to decide if you're going to go and pay for it or not. So I did have a look round, because another thing on my list was to get a card holder. And they did have a card holder, but it was navy with silver hardware, which just wasn't what I was looking for. I did ask if they had any black ones, and they said they used to, but they have all sold out, which is not a surprise. So I didn't end up hooking a card holder up at the time. So I just went forward and bought the bag, which I'm so pleased that I did. And actually my boyfriend ended up giving this to me as a birthday present, which I didn't expect, and is so sweet of him, and makes it even more special to me. In terms of price, it was down from £1,080 to £580, which is quite a considerable discount, especially considering it is a bag that I feel like you could probably still see in shop. Yeah, I was very pleased with this. So from Prada, we ended up then going to Gucci because it's not too far away, and it was second on my list because I knew it would probably have a queue for it, which, surprise, it did. We joined the virtual queue, so you scan the QR code, and you then get a text as soon as you're ready to then go join the physical queue. At the time that we scanned it, there were 60 people ahead of us for the virtual queue. You don't get told how long it's likely to be, but like I said, you do get a text once you're ready, and then you've got 10 minutes to get from wherever you are down to the shop. So we decided to have a little bit of a look around some of the smaller shops that are also on our list. So my boyfriend bought a coat in North Face. We popped into Balenciaga. I did want some triple S's, they were also on my list, but I didn't expect that they were going to have any in there that I was looking for. I was looking for some sort of nude, neutral beige ones, which are obviously popular, so it's unlikely that they were going to have them in there at all, which I didn't. They had some like lime green ones and hot pink ones, but it's always worth a look because they are some considerable discounts there. I think their triple S's are down from like £650 to £750 to I think about £300 to £400. So if you do see a pair in there that you like, it is a good saving, but nothing tickled my fancy. And then from Balenciaga we ended up going to UGG. Now I wanted some new slippers from UGG because my ones have seen better days, and the dog has got hold of them quite a few times now, so they're less fluffy than they were when we first got them. To be honest, UGG was the most stressful shop that I went in the whole time. It felt like there was a lot of people in there for such a small store. Everyone was huddled around the slipper sections. Everyone was probably wanting to do what I was doing and get some slippers for Christmas. They didn't have loads of sizes left. I did want some ones sort of with the extra fluff around the edge, but they didn't have any of those. Well, they did, but they only had a 3 or 4, which is great if you're a 3 or 4, but when you're like me and a 5 and 6, which is one of the most common sizes, they always sell out the quickest. But I did end up managing to pick up a pair of slippers. So the slippers I managed to pick up are these ones, just some chestnut ones, still fluffy inside, but they've just not got the extra sort of fluff on the edge that I was hoping to get. But to be honest, I feel like these are going to be something I'm going to keep repurchasing year on year on year. They don't last forever, so I'm not too fussed. I'm sure next year I'll probably be able to get some better ones if I go to Bicester a little bit earlier on. But yeah, these are what I ended up getting. I think they retail about £70 odd, and we picked them up for 50, and my boyfriend also got me these for Christmas, so very pleased with those. Whilst we were in UGG, I did also pick up a pair of boots. I needed some new ones. Mine have holes in now and they've just seen better days. So I thought, whilst it's in there, I will see what they've got. Again, they didn't have loads of variety in there. They always tend to have the same sort of short boots, tall boots, ones with lace up at the back, which is what I ended up actually picking up. So what I picked up were these ones. These are sort of chestnut with some beige ribbon at the back. They're really cute. To be honest, they're not my size. I stupidly picked up a 7 because they didn't have a 6. It's not a deal breaker because they're so fluffy that they're still snug. Not sure why I did that. Think I panic bought, like I've just told you guys not to do, but yeah, I'm still going to wear them and use them as much as I would if they're a size 6, so it doesn't bother me. And these were down to £100. Now, I don't know what they retail at. I think it's about 125, maybe 150. So not such a big saving, but it was something I needed to get, and I got them. Then from UGG, we popped into Timberland. We go there every time. It's just always on our hit list. And to be fair, they had some really good savings on. My partner did look at a pair of boots that ended up being down to about £70, which for Timberlands is unreal. And we wear them constantly, whether we're walking the dog or just in general. I think they can be dressed up or dressed down. So if you are looking for some good savings, always check out Timberland. I think it was because there was an extra £30 off if you spent £100 or something, and the boots were already £100, so it was a ridiculous saving. But he didn't end up getting them because he's already got a few pairs. But whilst we were there, we got the text to say that Gucci was now ready for us to come and join the physical queue. Now, I did actually miss the text, and by the time I'd seen it, it was about 4 minutes ago, and you've got 10 minutes to get there, and you have to accept the text first to say that you're going to go back. And we stupidly were in Timberland, which is right at the start of the village, and Gucci was all the way back up there. So it was a very brisk walk back to Gucci, where we then got checked in by someone there and could join the physical queue. To be honest, it took us about an hour from joining the queue to be able to actually get into the queue, and then it was about an extra 10 to 15 minutes queue once we were there. But they'd actually closed off the online virtual queue, and there was a huddle of people waiting for them to bring the QR code back out for them to scan. And to be fair, people were having a right go at the security guard. They were saying that they've just come for Gucci and that it's not acceptable and why can't they just let them in. But we are in a pandemic. There are rules that we need to adhere to. They're doing their best. They'd rather not turn you away. They'd rather have your money, but you've just got to be patient. And I get that it was still quite early. It was before 10, but these shops are always busy and they just want to make sure they're going to be able to get in and see everyone in time. And they do reopen the queues, but they just let them go down a bit first. So we finally got into Gucci, sanitised our hands. To be fair, it felt like they'd moved a lot of the islands that they usually have in there, and a lot of the stock was just on the surrounding walls. They didn't have anything great, I'll be honest. A lot of it was very, very colourful and wacky, so if you're into that, then you would have been in heaven. But for me, I like the more plain and simple, and they didn't really have much there, and I was just predominantly looking for a card holder, which they didn't have anything that tickled my fancy. They had quite a lot of shoes, but again, they were very, very unusual. They did have the typical Gucci scarves that they always have in there, and I did nearly buy one, but I just couldn't justify spending like £200 on a scarf that I'm probably going to wear a handful of times when my money would be better off spent somewhere else. One thing it is worth remembering at Bicester is a lot of the stock is old stock, dead stock, and stuff that has been specifically made for Bicester. The same way TK Maxx have brands that are specifically made for them, Bicester sort of make their own products. I suppose it's a way that brands can keep their name out there, cut the costs, and make it still work. Don't get me wrong, you do still get some in-season and old-season stuff, but it's likely that a lot of it is made specifically to put into their outlet stores. So that is always something that is worth considering, because they say the recommended retail price, but it's never actually gone into retail. But yeah, didn't end up picking anything up in Gucci. And then from Gucci, we went into Barber because my boyfriend was desperate to get a Barber coat. He has seen a few, but they've never just been quite right. And to be fair, from what he said from when he went in there, they still didn't have anything particularly that he wanted to see. But he did mention that they had a rack there that said specifically made for Bicester. So that just reiterates the fact that some stock is made specifically to be sold in Bicester. But whilst he was in there, I left him to go to PRADA because it was just next door. And I just wanted to have another look to make sure they didn't have any purses or card holders that were going to be of interest to me, and I didn't want to walk away and regret potentially not going back. So I thought I'd just pop back. It's likely I'm going to have to join the queue, but surprisingly I didn't. I could just walk straight back in. It was quite quiet and calm in there. I went back to sort of the purse countertop. To be honest, the staff in PRADA are just so rude. I've always found every time I've gone, they always sort of just dismiss you. It doesn't feel like they take you seriously, regardless of whether I'm buying something full price or discounted. It shouldn't matter. I'm still spending my money and I'm still buying your brand. It does feel like they seem to just put staff in there willy-nilly, which is very different to their actual stores where they're quite specific about who they hire. And I know for a fact that Bicester Village is like their most profitable store, so I am surprised that they don't put more customer service orientated staff in there. But it's not going to stop me buying something. I'm not going to shoot myself in the foot just because someone's rude. And yeah, I ended up having a look at their purses upstairs and checked out the men's section. Again, they had some card holders, but they were quite masculine and it felt quite obvious that they were men's, and again just wasn't quite what I was looking for. So I went back down, had another look at the purses, and I had looked at some before, but it felt like a lot of the purses were the bigger ones, or sort of coin purses about that big, which I wanted something specifically that was going to be small to put in my new bag, but also in my other bags as well. I don't use money at all really. I'm either Apple Pay or contactless, so having a card holder suited me down to the ground. But I did actually end up seeing this, so I'm not too sure how I didn't spot this when I first went in, to be honest. I think I was just so blindsided by the fact that I'd found the bag and realised I hadn't really got any card holders. But I'm glad I went back and had a second look, because I ended up finding this. So it's not quite a card holder. It does have a pocket for some coins. Like I said, I don't really use coins, but I suppose it's always handy. A lot of places like car parks still need coins, so always got a couple of quid on me, so that's going to be handy to have. And then the other section is just for cards. So very, very pleased that I found this. It's just got the PRADA logo inside there and also the PRADA logo on there, so it matches the bag. It's not got the triangle either, and it's a tougher leather, which is good because it's something I'm going to be touching a lot more. It's going to be chucked in and out of my bag. It's probably going to get battered a little bit, but not as battered as my current card holder. So in terms of prices, this was down from £405 to £255, which I still think is a good price. I'm really, really happy with this, and I know it's going to get a lot of use, and it's literally going to be in my day-to-day life. So once you have selected something in a shop, you get an hour to decide whether or not you're going to go ahead and purchase it. So they give you a ticket and you can have a browse around the rest of the store, see if there's anything else that you're going to want to buy, or have a think about your purchase, I suppose. They sort of put it on hold and then it's up to you if you want to go and buy it. So Charlie was still in Barber and I thought, do you know what, sod it, I'll have a little look round, wait for him to come here when he's ready. I had the coats, didn't really see anything. I do always have some lovely puffer coats in there, but I've got more than enough coats, so decided against getting anything. But I did have another look at their shoes. Now, as I mentioned, I was after some Balenciaga triple S's, which I didn't end up seeing any, and I did end up buying some through a personal shopper at Balenciaga, Harvey Nichols, and I will do a separate video on that, in depth of my experience and sort of my review of the whole process and the shoes as well. But I ended up seeing these. Now, I feel like chunky trainers are quite Marmite. They're either you love them or you hate them. I know I, for a fact, now love them. I think I was quite against them at first, but they're growing on me. So I may have missed the trend and missed the hype, but I saw these and I just fell in love. They were like the triple S's, but not the Prada equivalent. So these are the shoes. They are grey. They have got a reflective strip just there. They've got the Prada logo just there. And yeah, they've got, that is very, very, very similar to the Triple S's, but it's not quite so flappy. They're a lot smoother and clean cut, I would say, than the Triple S's, but they're still chunky shoes. They've got the logo at the back as well. Just as I was trying them on, Charlie walked back in and he was like, you are not buying those. I'm not letting you spend money on shoes that look like those. But I do what I want in some scenarios, and this is one that I knew I would walk away and regret, and I did have the Triple S's on my hit list, so I felt I could justify it a bit more, and I'm so pleased that I got them. Not that I've been able to wear them yet because we then went into a lockdown, but hopefully one day soon, even if I wear them to Sainsbury's, then that's what I will do, just to get a bit of joy out of life at the moment. Yeah, I picked these up. To be honest, I don't know if they're women's or men's. They're a size 39, which is a UK 6, but for men that's a UK 5, which is equivalent to a UK 6, so I'm not too sure. And fun fact, the Balenciagas that I ended up buying were also men's because they didn't make that colourway in women's, which is so stupid. But yeah, they cost me £380, and I know that they're still selling these online for £710. I haven't seen the grey ones, but they are selling white ones. So it's quite nice to know that they're a product that is still in shops now, because for future resale I have bought designer things and then resold them because I haven't worn them or used them as much as I would have hoped. And it's always nice to know that when you're buying something, it's not just stock that's been made specifically for the outlet. It does actually exist out in the world separately. So yeah, I picked up these and I can't wait to wear them. So guys, that concludes my Bicester Village haul. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you could please like, comment, subscribe to my channel, that would be great. As mentioned, my next video is going to be an in-depth video about me buying my Triple S's and what I think of them. And I will see you guys soon.